Hey friends, what's going on? It is Kristen from the future, and I finished recording the episode. However, when I brought the footage into my editing software, I noticed that my microphone was picking up the heating. We have a central heating system in this house, so whenever the heating pops on, you hear like a white noise in the background. I just want to give you guys a heads up. It's not terribly distracting, but it is noticeable. It does turn off after a certain point and back on. Hopefully you will still be able to enjoy the episode, and just know that in the next episode, the next time I record, I will take care to make sure that the heater is off so we don't have this problem again. So if you're cool with that, without further ado, let's jump into the episode. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kristen, and if you're new here, this is where I come at you every other week or so and share what I've been making. I do a lot of knitting, I do a lot of crochet, I do a lot of quilting. If that is something that you're into, if you are multi-craftual, you are indeed in a good place. Gather around, grab a cup of something, and let's get into things. Boy, do I have a lot to share with you. I'm looking at a giant pile of crafty goodness sitting over here right next to me. I guess let's just dive right into things, shall we? I've got a finished object. Last time I chatted with you, I said that I had cast on a shawl using some of my hand spun that I spun, and yeah, I'm all done. It's finished. This is the Age of Brass and Steam Shawl by Orange Peel Patterns. And again, this is a pattern that's been out for quite some time. I believe it was published about 10 years ago. It's a free pattern, and it's an incredibly simple pattern. If you are new to knitting and you want to dip your toes into shawl knitting, lace knitting, this is the way to go, because again, very simple construction. These little lace bits right here, you're just doing simple yarn overs and knit two togethers. It doesn't get any easier than that. And I decided to cast this project on because I was looking for a project that I could just kind of, go on autopilot with. I had a friend coming over and I didn't have a sock on the go where I could just knit around and around and around. I just wanted something simple and mindless, and I went stash diving, found my hand spun, and I was like, you know what? Let's cast on something simple with this hand spun. And I also really like the simplicity of this pattern because it really does allow the hand spun to shine. I think I had maybe about 100 grams. Anyway, it was a very thick and thin type of yarn that I think just kind of, bordered fingering and DK weight. Anyway, it turns out the yarn and the pattern were a match made in heaven, and I'm so happy with the way it turned out. I blocked it last night. I just have to photograph it, get it up on Ravelry, on the Instagrams, and Bob's your uncle. So the one thing that I altered with this pattern is the border. I don't know if you can see it very well. It is very dark. So if I did follow the pattern to a T, I was going to run out of yarn. So instead of following the pattern to a T, after the last lace repeat, I opted for a picot bind off. And I apologize if you're having trouble seeing this because it is a very dark yarn. But yeah, I actually really like the way that the picot bind off looks a lot better than the simple, the original pattern just had a very simple garter stitch border, but I think this adds just like a really nice, delicate, feminine touch. I don't know, what do you guys think? I really like it. So yeah, that worked out really nicely. The fiber, I should mention, that I used to spin the yarn is by the Woolly Witch. She's on Etsy. The colorway is called Chocolat, and yeah, as you can see, it's just a really beautiful chocolate brown, variegated browns with flecks of, hints of purple and violet in there, and then an ever so subtle shot of stellina. So it has a very light sparkle. And I don't want to try it on because I have my microphone, but I apologize for any muffling. I'll just, yeah. Sorry if I sound muffled right now, but as you can see, it's big enough to be a shawl, so it fits really nicely around my neck. Yeah, it's a really good size, and I'm really happy with the way it turned out. So yay, it's done, it's done. Yeah, and the heat's finally turned off, so yay. The production quality just went up about maybe 10%. Who knows? But okay, so that is my finished object for this week. Still have a work in project, and that is my Fruit Tingles shawl by Ambah O'Brien. This is the second pattern that I'm knitting by Ambah O'Brien, and guys, I really, really like her patterns. Again, just because lately I've been enjoying very simple, easy breezy knits. It just, you know, at the end of the day, knitting is how I wind down. It's how it's just my zen, you know? So if I don't have to think too hard about what my hands are doing, even better. So I don't know. Occasionally I do enjoy a challenging project, but lately it's just been, give me the easy stuff. So yeah, this is the Fruit Tingles shawl by Ambah O'Brien, and I am very, very close to being done, guys. And while I say this pattern is very easy, it is. It's just when you hit these little lacy daisy stripes over here where there are 2 rows where you have to pay attention to what your hands are doing, because there's a lot of wrapping around the needle, there's a lot of slipping stitches to one needle back to the other. Again, all very simple, but you do have to do a little, stitch acrobatics, if you will, if that makes any sense. So yeah, there's a little paying attention involved, but for the most part, after you're done with these stripes, it's just garter stitch, garter stitch, garter stitch with the occasional increase. So yeah, overall, just a really enjoyable pattern. Although I have to say, I'm kind of over it. I think my attention would have been held a lot more had I followed the pattern and used different colored stripes, because it's kind of like knitting self-striping socks where you just want to get to the next color, just one more row, one more stripe. Yeah, here I chose just 2 colors, which I mean, these colors are really beautiful together. I really like them. But then, I want to say like maybe halfway through the project, it became more about the FO, more about, less about the process, more about the finished product. So you know how that goes. Again, I'm almost done. So one more stripe to finish, and then I get to do one more of these lacy daisy stripes, and then I get to bind off, and we will have a finished shawl. And I will say the one gripe that I have about this project, nothing to do with the designer, nothing to do with the pattern, but because like 2 rows ago, I want to say, I ran out of the gray yarn. So it just kind of killed me to have to wind up an entire new skein just to finish, another 10 rows of garter stitch. So, I'm going to have a lot of yarn, a lot of this gray yarn left over after I'm done with this project. I mean, I could probably continue knitting it and making it a schlanket, but again, as I said, I'm kind of ready to be done with the project. So I will have to find another project for the leftover yarn, which not a big deal. There are a million patterns out there. I'm sure I'll find something. So there's that. And I'll definitely have some more of this, yellow yarn left over, which I should probably talk about. The yarn is my hand-dyed yarn, Voolenvine yarns in my gosling base, dyed on my gosling base, which is a fingering weight yarn. It's a blend of alpaca, silk, and superwash merino. So really, really soft, really, really fluffy, and just, yeah, really delicious. I love this yarn so much. And this is my Phantom Hydrangea colorway, and this is Weep. So, really, really love this color combo. But I have an idea, actually, because I'm gonna have so much leftover of this yarn. I'm thinking, because this is a relatively simple shawl, I might just whip up a couple tassels and tassellate it, as Stephen West says. Just throw on some tassels, one on this end, one on the center, and one on this end. So, I think I could get 3 tassels out of this. Who doesn't love a tassel? I love a tassel, so that is the plan for that. I do have some quilting to share with you, but before I get into that, I do want to mention our make-along. In the last episode, I announced our epic make-along, hashtag Voolenvine Epic Mall. This is going to be a make-along, a year-long make-along, where we all endeavor to make that thing that's been on our bucket list, make that dream project, tackle something challenging, or take something out of hibernation and actually finish it. So, any project that's kind of a big undertaking, it could be anything, as many projects as you want to tackle. But yeah, it's going to be a year-long make-along. So there's absolutely no rush to get started, but you can start now. You can take your time, gather your materials, think about what you want to make, or think about what you want to pull out of hibernation and work on. And the deadline, the tentative deadline, because, if we need more time, I'll extend it. But the tentative deadline will be January 1st, 2025, which seems so far off. And anyone is welcome to join, whatever your craft is. If you're into knitting, if you're into crochet, quilting, sewing garments, weaving, needle turn applique, embroidery, cross stitch, whatever you are into, you are welcome to join. However, I do want to reiterate that, to keep things safe here on the channel, I am limiting giveaways to our private Facebook group, which is a Facebook group for members of this channel. So it's not that I'm trying to exclude anyone, it's just for me to keep things safe here, because the last time I did a giveaway, trolls just descended upon the comments and there was a lot of like scary stuff happening. So the Facebook group is the place where I'm going to safely host giveaways. Not that this make-along is about the giveaways. It's just a nice to have. I really want this make-along to be something that we can all do together, share what we're working on, root each other on, and just get excited about together, which is what the hashtag is for. So, if you are on Instagram or on Ravelry or whatever, just use the hashtag Voolenvine Epic MAL so I can see what you're working on. Other people partaking in the make-along can see what you're working on. And yeah, we can just generally cheer each other on and offer help and support, or, just be inspired by what we're all making. So, in the last episode, I talked about what I was thinking about making, which was the Jane Stickle quilt. This is a quilt that I went to see in person at the Bennington Museum in Vermont. Beautiful, beautiful quilt. Here it is up close. And just the amount of work that went into making this quilt. Long story short, I felt so inspired to try making this quilt myself. I obviously picked up the book, and all the templates are in here, to try making your own. And I did make a practice block, and after realizing all of the work that is required to go into making this quilt, I thought long and hard about it, and I have to be honest, I got cold feet, guys. So, and that is okay. Like, I still eventually want to try making this quilt, but not now. I've just decided that this year is not the year to make the Jane Stickle quilt, and that's completely fine. I know I got very excited about it. I'm sure I got a lot of you excited about it and encouraged you to, or inspired you to try making this quilt. You can still do that. If anyone decides to make the Jane Stickle quilt and finishes it by January 1st, 2023, color me impressed. I will be in awe, and yeah, you win. You will win the make-along. Not that there are any winners and losers, but I'm just saying. Anyway, so while I decided to table making the Jane Stickle quilt this year, I did decide to tackle a project that I did have in hibernation for quite some time. So you might be excited to see a reappearance of my fruit garden blanket. Here she is. She's very close to being done, but there's still more to do, a lot more to do, my friends. This is a crochet project that I started a while back, and it is a free pattern, if you can believe it or not, by Jane Crowfoot. So I will stand back so you can see it. Yeah, it's, total labor of love. I'm still in awe that I actually got this far. I, really challenged myself to tackle something quite epic, and I'm so proud of myself. But it got to a point where I put so much work into this, and I was pretty monogamous when it came to this. But after I reached this point, I needed a break. So I needed a little palette cleanser, and that palette cleanser, that break turned into, I want to say, like 2 seasons. So all that's left to do is the border, and I have all these little rosettes started. I believe these are the acanthus. Yeah, anyway, if you look at the pattern, there are like these giant rectangle motifs around the border, and these are the centers of those rectangles. So, really, really intricate, really involved. Yeah, it requires a lot of focus and brain power, not gonna lie. So I have all of those I have 8 of these to do, big rectangles, and then I think another 8 square motifs to do, and then there's like another little mini border that's involved. So anyway, I do have another project in plan that is definitely going to be epic. And, while I'm not making the Jane Stickle quilt, that quilt, as I mentioned, involves a lot of hand stitching. It's primarily hand stitching. And maybe just a little too intricate of hand stitching for me, but I still love the idea of a slow, meditative hand-pieced quilt project. So it got me thinking about English paper piecing again. And, you know, again, if you're a member of this channel, you know that I fell hard down a Tula Pink rabbit hole. And if you're not familiar with Tula Pink, she's a fabric designer, and she's known for her very, very colorful, very bold, bright fabric prints. They're usually very animal themed. There's a lot of rainbows happening. And you're probably thinking, Kristen, really? What are you the same person? Hello? Like, what's happening here? Because, you know, as a knitter, I tend to gravitate towards very neutral shades. I mean, mauve, greens, blacks, grays. I mean, look at, you know, these are the colors that I wear. But when it comes to quilting, I can just go crazy. I don't, you know, the world is my oyster. I can just play with color to my heart's content. And, you know, again, that is one of the things I truly, truly love about quilting. And again, like Tula Pink, her and there are some other fabric designers out there too that I'm, you know, just kind of discovering for myself. So, you know, you got Tula Pink, you have Kaffe Fasset, you have Anna Maria Horner. I mean, these are, you know, I will leave links to their fabric lines down below so you can check them out for yourselves, but they're so pretty, so fun, and I'm definitely feeling inspired by them. And, you know, after watching a couple of, you know, this is what I do, like, I ended up watching a couple of interviews with Tula Pink. Such a fun person, oh my gosh, you know, really creative, and, you know, I'm just like, I want this energy. I need this type of energy around me. I want to be best friends, basically. So I also learned that she has a few patterns out there. One that is heavily inspired by the Passacaglia. So the Passacaglia is a very well-known English paper piecing pattern. I've talked about this pattern at length on the channel in the past. I have the book, and I've also created a PDF of the paper templates that you can purchase and download on my website. Again, links all down below. Anyway, Tula mentioned how she fell in love with the Passacaglia as well, and you know, she tried making the Passacaglia, but like me, you know, after a couple of medallions, you're kind of done. Like, they're very small, very intricate pieces. I think Kate from the last Homely House talked about the Passacaglia, or La Paz as the community calls it. Tula had the idea of blowing the Passacaglia up, making it large scale so it's not as, you know, tiny and intricate. I like that idea and ended up picking up the kit. So this is the Tula Nova, and, you know, as you can see, it's very, very similar to the Passacaglia. You know, it's a medallion, but what she did, it's just blown up large scale, and yeah, it's just appliqued to whole cloth, if you will. So on the back, you know, these are the paper templates, you know, just to make my life a little easier so I don't have to sit there hand drawing each and every template. They're already cut out for me, and this is by paperpieces.com, which, you know, if you are into EPP and you don't want to sit there drawing and cutting out paper pieces, they're a great website because they have all the templates there for you. And you can just purchase them. So anyway, I got it for Tula Nova. There's that. And then I also got the templates to cut out fabric. And these are a lot of fun. Just so you can get an idea of the scale of how big this thing is going to be. Like, this is the center medallion. So yeah, it's pretty big. And here are the other ones. And again, this is from paperpieces.com. And yeah, these are the diamond shapes, the triangles. Yeah. It's gonna be huge. It's gonna be very big, but I'm really, really excited. So that is the plan. So I'm gonna finish my fruit garden blanket, and I'm gonna tackle the Tula Nova for our MCAL. Let me know in the comments down below, what are you gonna be making for our make along? I'm so curious, I'm excited to hear all about it. And if the comment sections aren't enough for you, do consider becoming a member, because we're having a really fun time over in the Facebook group. So the Facebook group is private for members of this channel only. You can become a member by clicking the join button down below this video or on the main page of this channel. And as I say all the time, for, you know, a monthly fancy schmancy cup of coffee, you can enjoy some perks from yours truly. I do publish a weekly waffle video. I call them waffles because they're just very quick, casual vlogs where I waffle on about what I'm getting up to, you know, life-wise, craft-wise, just, you know, me you know, pressing record on my iPhone and just checking in with you and letting you know what I'm working on. But you also get an invite to our private Facebook group where you can share projects, you can share photos of what you're working on, chat with other members, ask questions, and it's a really lovely community that we're growing over there. So yeah, consider becoming a member and supporting the crazy work that I do here. So yes. All right, so that's a little update on our make along. I do hope that you join us because it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. I'm very excited for it. So did I mention I was excited? I'm very excited. So anyway, that's what I'm going to be working on. But yes, moving along to quilting and staying on the topic of Tula Nova, our patron saint of crazy wacky prints, apparently. I did start a quick little English paper piecing project, and here's where I am with it. This is the Lightkeeper pattern, which is by NovelSnob on Etsy. I think that's the name of her shop, or who designed this pattern. But this is going to be a 12 by 12 inch square, and it's all fussy cut. All Tula Pink prints, fussy cut. So, I mean, come on, guys. Little tiny dandelion hedgehogs. What could be better? I can't even. And then here she has like these wavy gravy lines and everything. And yeah, it's just a really nice chill project to work on at the end of the day. I can't stress how meditative and calming and relaxing English paper piecing is. You know, and I did take a break from it for a while, but you know, when I was trying my hand at the Jane Stickle quilt, doing a practice test, I reintroduced myself to it and forgot how much I really enjoyed it. And I do have a tutorial. Like if you are new to EPP or want to know what the heck English paper piecing is, I'll pop a little link in the doobly-doo up here. I have a little tutorial showing you how to get started with EPP, what's involved. So yeah, do check that out. And a lot of you ask, like, what's the deal with the paper pieces in the back? So here's what the back looks like. You can see all the hand stitching, and there are still little pieces of paper stuck in here. And basically, in a nutshell, the paper pieces hold the shape of your pieces, so you can fold it down and stitch them in place. So once this square is completely surrounded by other pieces, then you can take out the paper pieces. And the paper pieces are just like cardstock, you know, floppy cardstock. So, you know, like a greeting card type of material, if you will. You know, just so you can easily bend it. You can, again, like when you're stitching things, you can totally bend the paper pieces as you're working. The paper pieces are just there to hold the edge of your shape, if you will, while you're stitching it. So I hope that makes sense. So yeah, this is just a fun little side project I'm working on. Probably going to be another mug rug coaster type situation. And then, if you watch, I mentioned Kate from the Last Homely House earlier in the episode, but on a recent video, she talked about, or did a tutorial on how to make a quilt, a Wonky Star quilt. She was making one for Project Linus, which is a really wonderful charity that I at some point want to get involved in, because yeah, it seems really great. But I really wanted to try the quilt that she made for the tutorial, which again is the Wonky Star quilt. And I had all these fabrics from Tula Pink that I was excited to use. And guys, I have a finished quilt top. Are you surprised? So I'm almost done quilting it, guys. I'm in the motion of, you know, doing a little top stitching action, but here it is. Is this right side up? Not that it matters, but yeah, this is right side up. So look at that. There's a squirrel with some acorns. This is very wacky, my friends, not gonna lie. It's very colorful. We have another hedgehog in a different colorway. I think my favorite though, let me see, where is it? I think it's the center one. I put the center one as my favorite, and I showed this off on my Instagram account, but look at this guy. Look at this guy. It's a raccoon going through the trash, as they do. As they do. I mean, seriously. Let me see, who else is in here? I think I put the snake guy. I had a snake. Where's the snake? There's a snake. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Guys, this quilt is ridiculous, but I love it. I love it so much. And as I was talking to members earlier this week, I mentioned how while I was working on this quilt, I could not stop thinking about my niece because, you know, she loves animals, she loves colorful things, and you know, nature and all that jazz. And, you know, I actually saw her over the weekend, and I said, hey, Jules, I said, I've been working on this quilt. I showed her a photo, and I couldn't not help thinking about you. If I finish this quilt, would you like it? And the smile on her face, she's like, yes, I would. So, you know, I'm gonna finish this quilt in time for Thanksgiving and gift it to her on Thanksgiving. So yeah, as you can see, I'm almost done quilting it, and I'm just doing, I just tacked on my walking foot, and I'm just doing diagonal straight lines going across the squares. And I'm actually using, Aurifil, which Aurifil 50. That kind of, it's like an Aurifil color that shifts color as you sew with it. So yeah, it's a variegated thread, Kristen, that's the word. So yeah, it kind of changes color. I don't know how you can see it, but you know, subtle shifts of color in the stitching. And then for the border, I'm just doing some crazy doodles, you know? Yeah, it's not perfect. Don't look too close, but anyway, here's what the back looks like. For the back, I'm just using a cream grunge fabric. And then, you know, I'm just going to sign it for her, you know, Dear Jules, love, Aunt Kristen. And this is a very small quilt. I believe it's 40 inches by 40 inches. Yeah, really, really small size. I want to say a little bigger than crib size, maybe picnic blanket size. So, you know, if she wants to sit in her backyard, read a book, it's perfect for that. So yeah, I'm going to finish free motion quilting the border, and then I'm just going to bind it. And yeah, we will have a finished quilt. Yeah, the free motion quilting, guys, you know, it's definitely a learning curve. I mean, I'm very comfortable right now using my walking foot. I really love walking foot quilting. It's just, you don't have to think too hard. It's just straight lines. But yeah, this was such a fun little project. I definitely want to try making a more kind of like low volume version of this quilt. Super easy. I love the Wonky Star business. It's truly a scrappy, friendly project that, you know, yeah, I'm so glad Kate did that tutorial, because yeah, it's a great project. It's a great project. Love scrappy quilts. So yeah, that is one almost finished object. So yeah, guys, I believe that's all I have to share with you on this episode. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Next week is Thanksgiving here in the United States. So if you are celebrating, I hope you have a very, very happy Thanksgiving or Friendsgiving. You know, get to spend time with family, friends, loved ones, and just have some good eats, or, you know, just having some time to yourself to relax, unwind. Yeah, and you know, of course, I just want to say that I am so truly grateful and thankful for you guys. I mean, let's be real, there are so many crafting YouTube channels, but you decided to spend your time hanging out with me, and that means a lot. So thank you so much for being here, for hanging out with me. And if you made it this far and you haven't already, feel free to like and subscribe down below. I'm putting out videos for your viewing pleasure every other week. And until the next video, happy making, happy Thanksgiving if you celebrate, and I will see you next time. Bye.